In this video, I am going to be talking about all of the physical manga that I read last week. I did also read quite a few digitals, but I only want to talk about the physicals today. Maybe I'll talk about the digitals I sampled tomorrow. So let's do a very quick recap of the manga. Hopefully spoiler free, but if I end up saying spoilers, I will give prompt warnings and then talk about how I felt about them. And hopefully I will not yap for too long. So let's get started. The first one I read, I mispronounced, I think. It felt kind of silly. The Japanese for this one makes it read as Centuria. I read it as Centuria. Is it Centuria? I don't know what this word means. So Centuria, I'm just gonna go with the Japanese reading, is a brand new series from Viz. This is a at sea horror type of series. Typically, this would not be something I would reach for, but surprisingly to me, I actually ended up really enjoying it. The cover doesn't really, I guess, but I wouldn't judge this one by the cover because it does get more interesting than I think the cover would leave you to believe. Sorry to the cover. I don't love the cover all that much. This series is about a boy, we can see him on the cover here, who sneaks aboard a ship full of slaves, 100 slaves to be exact. This ship is heading towards the new continent, hopefully to give all of them a better life, hence the reason he snuck aboard the ship. Originally, he was going to be executed because they only have enough rations for the 100 slaves on the boat, but all of the slaves end up taking a liking to him because he's a young boy. They feel pity for him, they agree to share their food with him, and so he is accepted on board, set to live a new life in the new continent. However, lots of not so nice things happen on this boat, on the ship, leading eventually to the emergence of a octopus monster god thing. We don't really know what it is, only that it's an octopus monster god thing. And the appearance of this octopus monster god thing ends up giving the young boy incredibly strong powers. So strong that he is able to successfully make it to the new continent and he is able to meet new people and get a kickstart on hopefully a good new life. It's generally what it's about. I ended up really enjoying this one because I do really like horror series. This is my first like in the sea type of horror series, at least in manga form, and I did like it. The horror elements were very good. They come at really surprising times, like the octopus monster sea god thing. It just kind of appeared. It just emerged randomly out of the water. It was so good because it really wasn't like atmospherically, it really wasn't scary until it made its appearance. And then it was like, wow, that's scary. Also, the sea creatures that take place or that exist in this book are all terrifying. I don't think it's just the sea creatures that are going to be terrifying. I do think it's going to be basically all of nature, just from what I've seen of this book. So I really do enjoy that. One part I don't really find all that interesting is the human characters. I'm more interested in the nature in this series. If it wasn't for the interesting nature, I don't think I would like it so much, but it does make for a very interesting read because you never really know what's going to happen, and I enjoyed that. So I will be continuing this one, and hopefully it just gets spookier along the way. The back is also pretty cool because it has like all these tentacles and stuff. It's a sea horror series. I think that's really neat. I find like underwater stuff to be really scary. Even like the Mario games, the underwater levels, especially in the new ones, are spooky to me. I used to not be able to play them when I was a kid because I found them to be so scary. I like underwater stuff. My next one I already made a kind of ranty video about. I finished Sugar Apple Fairy Tale. And if you didn't see the video, I did not like this volume. I found this volume to be incredibly disappointing because it focuses on a side character that had just been introduced rather than our main character An or any of her buddies. So there's a sense of completion in this random side character's life, which I don't care about. And then An is just kind of there for the ride. I don't like that she was forced to take a backseat in her own story. I found that to be disappointing. I'm not even going to do a recap because I did talk about this one a lot already. Just I found this to be disappointing. I loved the first two volumes. I loved the world building. I'm not saying it's a bad series because I know the light novels are so much better than the manga, so I will be picking up the light novels. It's been recommended to me already, and I like the world already, so I know I'm gonna like them more. Just I found this to be disappointing. I don't think there was enough to it. 4 volumes is not enough. 4 volumes for 2 seasons of an anime? Not enough. I haven't watched the anime though, so I can't say anything about that. My next one is volume 2. Is it? Yeah. Volume 2 of Natsume's Book of Friends. I love this. I love this series so much. Volume 2, I began reading the author's notes, something I normally just gloss over when I started reading this series. And I really enjoy the author's notes because it really gives a sense of what they were thinking when they wrote it. And I don't know why I used to gloss over them because I found them to be very interesting. Like, this author talks about how this is their first time writing a series where they really want to be welcoming to new to manga readers. So just about every chapter kind of re-explains the overall premise of this series. I have come across quite a few different series that do the same thing. Sometimes I find it to be irritatingly repetitive, sometimes I find it to be okay. This one I found it to be okay. It only really does a recap the first page of each new chapter, and I just kind of gloss over that page, and then we're good to go. This volume, again, just like volume 1, we are introduced to all different sorts of yokai, and Natsume befriends them or talks to them and is able to come to understandings with them, and then helps solve their problems, usually. And I still really liked it. There's still the sense of the importance of being kind and friendship. Everybody just likes Natsume, and who wouldn't like him? He's a good guy. I would be friends with him. So yeah, I really like this series. It's just like a warm and fuzzy kind of series. There's not really a lot of like spooky stuff. There's like spooky ideas. The thought of some of the things are spooky, which really does let me like this because I like horror. Even if it's not like actually scary, like a kind of scary idea in a manga, I think is enough to keep things interesting. It keeps it like fresh. It doesn't get stale, which I like. Maybe it will, because this one is what, like 32 volumes long right now? But as of volume 2, I don't think it's stale whatsoever. I'm really enjoying it. Natsume's Book of Friends was my top read in February. I love it so much. Getting on to my Japanese reads now. I didn't read all that much in Japanese. First one is Koushakusama, Akusai no Watashi wa mou Hotteoite Kudasai. This one, this little thing at the bottom always gets a little bit tight and then makes my books open when I don't want them to. It's very frustrating. Okay. This one, as far as I know, does not have an English yet. I only sampled chapter 1, loved chapter 1, and then ended up buying this volume. However, I don't think chapter 1 really gave the entire story. You really have to read the entirety of the first volume to really get a feel for everything. And oh my God, was it good. So I really did enjoy volume 1 a lot more than chapter 1. This one is a crazy series. It's crazy. It's nuts. So it's really good. So this series follows our female lead. Can I remember her name? We follow our female lead, Iruza, as I think her name, as she wakes up within the body of a villainess in a novel. It's not an otome game, I think it's a novel. I always confuse the two because there's so many series that have that trope. But she enters the body of a villainess to find the most beautiful man to be her husband. He hates her, he despises her, and she quickly learns of all of the god-awful things that the villainess had done to him. For example, she, the original villainess, has extraordinarily strong healing powers. His mom was sick, so he went to her to say, please heal my mom, please help me, I'll do whatever you want, just heal my mom. And she tells him she'll heal the mom if he marries her because she finds him to be so attractive. She wants him as her husband. He has no choice but to comply. After they get married, she curses him to have his lifespan shortened unless he sleeps with her twice a month. He hates her, but again, he doesn't want to die, so he has to comply with her. He's been doing everything in his power to figure out how to get revenge on her, but it's kind of hard because she's such a terrifying person. Then, our protagonist enters her body and has to deal with the consequences of having him despise her. So she doesn't know anything about him. She just wakes up in his evil wife's body, and figures out that he hates her. She tells him, I want to get a divorce. I'm so sorry. I'll leave you alone forever now. Please just stay away from me. But he has gone a little bit crazy because he hates her so much. He really wants his revenge on her. He's not going to let her go until he gets that revenge. So he says no. And now she has to kind of deal with the fact that she's forcefully married to somebody who really, really, really hates her. And it's just interesting. Throughout this volume, she is trying to find the original female lead of the story that he will eventually fall in love with before her fate is sealed and she's sentenced for a very, very bad ending. And I'm not going to spoil it, but something very funny to me, at least, happens. The ending of this one was very interesting. I really liked it. I went to buy volume 2 right away, even though I don't have much money to spend on manga right now. And it was sold out, so I'm very sad. But I'm very curious about how this one's going to go. So that's basically what happens in volume 1, like roughed notes, no big spoilers. So I really liked this one. I found it to be just dramatic enough that I found it to be interesting without so much drama that I found it to be stressful. It hit that good spot right in between. I do like the fact that though he hates his wife so much, he has noticed that, okay, she's kind of different now. I don't hate her as much because again, the original villainess was crazy. She was insane. She was more insane than he is now. She was so insane. So he likes the fact that his new wife doesn't really know about him, doesn't really care about him, isn't obsessed with him. It's making him more and more interested in her now. So it's just complicated emotions. I find it to be interesting. I found it to be a little bit funny. And we also have the female lead's brother, who's also obsessed with her, who also doesn't really believe that the new girl in the villainess's body is his actual sister. We don't know what's coming of that, but we do know there are two men who are obsessed with her, one for bad reasons, one for strange reasons. We don't know yet, but I'm very excited to continue it. My next Japanese read is this one. This one does have an English release out. The English is I'm perfectly fine on my own, so my fiancé can twist in the wind. This was hilarious. This was another one. I only sampled the first chapter, found it to be interesting, so I bought the first volume. I didn't realize how funny it was because the comedy in this one just builds up and up and up throughout the volume. Every chapter just gets more and more funny because it's based on misunderstandings. I cannot recommend this one enough. It is so funny. This series follows our female lead, Nicole. All of the names in this one are English-based names, so it's easier for me to remember. Our female lead, Nicole, and her fiancé, Chaos, which is a strange name for a man, but I kind of like it because he is chaotic. It kind of works out. In this manga verse, all of nobility is given a fiancé really, really young. At a very young age, they're set up to get married to somebody. They're sent into school. During their high school years, it's kind of their duty to really get to know their fiancé because quickly after they graduate, typically they get married and then they spend the rest of their lives together. So they really have to spend their high school years getting to know each other, otherwise they're marrying a stranger. However, Chaos really only has eyes for his childhood friend, a princess. So poor Nicole has been neglected, basically ever since they were set to be engaged. Things that typical couples do in their high school. I'm just calling it a high school. I don't think it's actually called a high school, but in their school, he has never done for her. So like typically the couples will eat lunch together twice a week. He's never invited her for lunch. Typically they exchange letters. He really doesn't send replies to her letters. He just gets them and has them. I don't even think he reads them. He's too busy with the princess, his childhood friend. Even when he does oblige Nicole's requests and go out to her, say to go shopping or something, all he can do is think about his childhood friend. So Nicole will see like a pretty hair clip or something, and he'll say, that would look good on my childhood friend, the princess. All he can do is think about her. So obviously, eventually, Nicole kind of snaps on the inside and lets go of all of her feelings for him because if he wants to be with the princess that badly, he can just go be with the princess. She's not going to stop him. She's perfectly fine on her own and he can twist in the wind. So she does just that. She stops inviting him out, stops asking him for tea, stops sending him letters, and she starts going out alone. And she quickly realizes there's a lot of freedom in doing things by yourself. It's actually really, really nice. She can hang out at the bookstore for as long as she wants. Nobody's going to tell her, like, hey, I'm bored, let's go home. She can go shopping and buy whatever she wants without her fiance whispering in her ear how much he wants to give that to his childhood friend. It's nice for her. When she's at school, whenever people ask her about her fiance, she has no problems just straight up telling the truth. So she'll say like, "Yeah, my fiance has never done anything for me. I don't think he likes me. It's clear he likes the princess. He can be with her if he wants." Her fiance Chaos eventually hears news of all of the things she's been saying about him, about how she's straight up saying she supports him with the princess, and he starts to freak out. And he starts trying to win Nicole back. But Nicole's happy on her own and she's already let him go. So the comedy comes from him trying to win her and her just not caring at all because she's fine on her own. And it's really funny. And I really, really like this one. I really recommend it. I'm happy it's already out in English because that was fast. I think there's only 3 volumes out so far in Japanese. This is another one. I want volume 2, but I can't buy it yet. So this is another one I'm waiting for. It's hilarious. This one's ending isn't as funny as the previous one, but this is a good comedy series. Typically, I don't like comedy in my manga. I am so picky with comedy in my manga, but this one really works. I found it to be funny because it's not like comedy from, it's not like gag humor, it's not body humor. It's humor coming from misunderstandings, which is funny, and it's humor coming from a man getting his just desserts, which I think is hilarious and I like to see it. I like a good revenge story. So when they make their revenge to be comical, I just like it. I just think it works. So yeah, I highly, highly recommend this one. It's very funny. And then my last read is an English one. This is an indie manga series self-published by Goroeko. This one I did really like. It's called Delerium and it's very, very pretty. There is some color inside of it, which I like color in my manga. And this has that. This is a kind of mystery series. It throws you right into the story, which I really like. I did find it to be like a tad bit confusing at first, but again, the series is called Delirium, so you're going to be a little bit delirious when you first start reading it. I thought it was appropriate. The series follows our young woman protagonist as she's running away from something. We don't really know all that much about what she's running away from, but we know she's running away from it, kind of like past demons, and they're trying to catch up to her. And we're following her as she's trying to cope with things. There are flashbacks. She is working at a school full of delinquents, kind of, trying to help them get a better life while also thinking back on her past that was kind of delinquent in itself. And it's a nice story. I really, really enjoyed it. I think the art is beautiful. Again, I like it when there's color inside of my manga. And it did kind of feel like fairy tale-esque at times because there are lots of talk of mermaids, I'll say. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's lots of talk of mermaids in this one. And I like that. I like mythical creatures and I like fairy tales. So when it kind of makes illusions, when it kind of alludes to it being inspired by even a made-up fairy tale, still I like it. So this was a very good read. And that is everything that I read physically last week. And I have a lot to read this week. I always have a lot to read. I just haven't made a dent in any of my library reads because I'm terrible. I'll get to them eventually, though.